Literacy is a fundamental human right paramount to success in modern society. Unfortunately, despite its importance, the Cooperative Research Centre for Living with Autism report that between 30 to 60% of school-aged children on the autism spectrum struggle with reading and comprehension, often presenting comorbid language difficulties. Autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, is a neurodevelopmental disorder characterized by difficulties in social communication and the presence of restricted and repetitive behaviors that significantly impact a person's daily functioning. Affecting 1 in 54 individuals, as estimated by Westerfield and Painter, understanding the importance of literacy and literature is integral to supporting the learning of children with autism. This presentation will firstly discuss literacy, explaining its importance for children with autism and identifying factors which can cause an effect on its prevalence within the group. Secondly, we will look at children's literature and the role it plays in understanding and diversification of autism. Then finally, we will unpack the children's storybook, The Girl Who Thought in Pictures by Julia Finley Mosca to discuss how it demonstrates lived experiences of a child with autism. Literacy is commonly understood as the ability to read and write. However, the introduction of technology and merging culture have broadened this understanding. Winch and co-authors write, "The definition of literacy is not static. It changes and it evolves to reflect the changing needs of society. Literacy is no longer seen as isolated bits of knowledge such as grammar and spelling, but as the ability to use language purposefully and skillfully in many different situations and for many different purposes." Literacy is a cornerstone of development, with proficiency linked to academic accomplishment and success in social interaction and the ability to take part in the workplace. So given the undeniable importance of literacy, what greater significance does it have for children with autism? Research by Dania and co. have shown that children with autism are likely to be less proficient in reading than their peers, displaying an irregular maladaptive reading profile. In addition, many children with autism have language impairments. When combined with ASD symptoms, which make it difficult for autistic children to engage in a classroom environment, the group is at a disadvantage for literary success. The importance of literacy for ASD is highlighted by Benny, who states literacy increases vocabulary for internal processing and communication, broadens interests, and supports navigation in a learning environment. Understanding the variables which impact literacy proficiency in autistic children is paramount to supporting their success. Before schooling, we can look at the impact of emergent literacy skills. These skills are a pathway to reading and comprehension which begin to develop from birth and are heavily influenced by the home environment. A study by Marvin and Miranda suggested children with developmental disabilities may have fewer opportunities to engage in emergent literacy such as storybook reading, library outings, rhyming activities, and literary teaching. Based on this, these children are already at a literacy disadvantage compared to their peers who have a greater access to these opportunities. Additionally, cognitive symptoms associated with ASD also affect the prevalence of emerging literacy. For example, Bean and Co. state that impaired joint attention can limit the book reading benefits for autistic children. They cannot share focus with a reading partner by eye gaze and pointing, lowering their ability to engage and stay focused with the text. The same journal also cites that social communication impairments and the ability to understand mental states can affect the child's ability to comprehend story characters' mental states and behaviour, consequently impacting reading comprehension and reducing literacy interest. On a positive note, we can acknowledge the abundance of resources made available regarding ASD, both online and in person, such as Autism Spectrum Australia and Autism Awareness Australia. These provide a comprehensive range of education, therapy, and support services, which assist people of all ages with autism, as well as their families and professionals working alongside them. Additionally, the Raising Children website states that support from friends and family is a key form of informal support, highlighting the importance of building their understanding of autism. Given the importance of emerging children with literacy and the challenges associated with engaging autistic children with story, this highlights a need for children's literature where autistic children can relate to the text to provide meaningful interaction. Literature has a broad definition. To quote Winch, "Literature is story, and story is basic to all our lives. Story expressed in multiple modes, fairy tales, novels, drama, poetry, and in multimedia, graphic, print, and electronic." Sawyer highlights the importance of literature as a key part of children's development. helping them to engage interest in literacy at an early age, establish values, develop positive self-image, and understand differences in diversity to promote inclusion. Characteristics of ASD can make autistic children feel lonely and isolated. Positive portrayals of autism in storybooks can be impactful in creating meaningful and connected experiences for autistic children, as they are shown relatable learning experiences. Literature can help autistic children to validate their feelings, giving them a sense of belonging and helping them to understand that being different is okay. Providing books with relatable stories can help autistic children engage with the text, promoting interest in literacy and helping them grow their sense of identity. Literature also promotes knowledge on ASD for neurotypical peers. Despite affecting at least 1 in 54 children, autism is still relatively stigmatized and misunderstood. Autism in literature helps to shape how others understand and respond to children with ASD. Through books, we can help provide insight to young children into what life with autism is like to help connect with their peers who may have ASD. Prater & Co. suggests that storybooks offer a non-threatening way to introduce children to the characteristics of students with disabilities, promoting awareness and understanding and acceptance. A great example of a storybook that provides insight into the lived experience with autism is The Girl Who Thought in Pictures by Julia Finley Mosca. Based on the life of Dr. Temple Grandin, the story centers around her own lived experience with autism, making it highly impactful. The author employs clear and concise language to convey the multiple facets of autism and the challenges faced by people on the spectrum. Firstly, we are shown the sensory characteristics experienced by Temple, citing her issues with loud sounds, bright and crowded places, and physical touch and inability to process emotion. As supported by the research of Prater & Co., not only does this help validate similar lived experiences for children with ASD, but it also provides understanding and knowledge to their peers. The narrative then shifts to her initial misdiagnosis and the advocacy of her mother to support Temple. When finally given her autism diagnosis, the text highlights Temple as different, not less, which portrays autism positively and provides an opportunity to give autistic children a sense of belonging with their own identity, which Wint and Co state is fundamentally important. Following this, we are shown how Temple faces adversity at school through bullying. This provides the opportunity for children to reflect on the character's experience in the book, putting themselves in the shoes of Temple and feeling what it's like to be bullied for being different, promoting empathy and understanding as suggested by Prater & Co. While acknowledging her initial challenges with autism, the overarching theme of the text promotes autism on a positive note. We see Temple accept being different and recognize her unique characteristics as being special. She employs her unique way of thinking with her interests and has a very bright and successful future. The illustrator uses simplistic and impactful illustrations to accompany the text. This focuses the reader on Temple and aids in understanding her emotions in different situations, particularly when she was sensory overloaded at the beginning of the book. The illustrations add a layer of depth, aiding children to gain insight into the experience with ASD. We see the illustrations continue in this note, with a recurring theme showing when she would think differently through clearly illustrated pictures. As the storybook is based on the life of Dr. Temple Grandin and was written alongside her, the experience and insight portrayed are suggested to be highly valid. As autism is so prevalent in society, we must understand how to support these young learners to the best of our ability through a clear understanding of both literacy and literature. This presentation has defined literacy, highlighting its importance to be successful in society, and discussed some factors which impact children with autism for achieving literary success, such as language impairments, cognitive disabilities, and lack of access to early literacy opportunities. Secondly, we focus on literature, discussing its importance for children with autism and ensuring the presence of ASD in children's literature. Here, we cited that literature can help autistic children validate their feelings and give them a sense of identity, provide relatable learning experiences, provide a knowledge of autism to neurotypical children, and promote a sense of understanding and acceptance. To conclude, an analysis was done on the storybook, The Girl Who Thought in Pictures, where we saw the real-life experience of an autistic child and acknowledged how it was insightful for the lived experience of children on the spectrum. Thank you for listening to my presentation.